Welcome to the Tinkercats video gallery. Today I'll show you how to make a card using acetate and this beautiful set by Stamplorations called box blooms. Now you have four box blooms and then loads of sentiments to work with. I shall be working with the daisy and the thanks sentiment. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to case one of my own cards. Now, for those who don't know, who've never heard that before, casing is basically making a card that is inspired by somebody else's card, from either due to the layout or the colours, materials used, whatever. Now, I'm going to case this card here using the acetate. And what I've done here is I used some simple ink pads to just stamp some squares on. And I'm going to do this with the daisy, but slightly differently, in as much as I'm only going to use one of the ink pads to stamp directly onto my card. And then for the other squares, which I want to be smaller, I'm going to use a square from the Retro Mod Shapes by Stamplorations. Right, so let's go. This is my card here. And I've already prepared it with the strip at the back for the acetate to be attached to later. Now, when I work with colours in that sort of way, I use small ink pads, I try to sort of move them around a little bit so that I can get the layout that I would want to. And I also tend to sort of use my stamp to see whereabouts I want to go. So that's what I'm going to do. That's where I want my bloom to be. And I was going to stamp yellow right behind it. So all I'm going to do is I open my little ink pad, and this is actually really good to do if your ink pad is slightly dry and you just want to use up a bit it in a different way. And it works best with the small sort of square ones, or you can get the dewdroppy ones as well. So just play around with them because you can't just stamp with them. So I'm going to be about here, and that's where I'm going to just go for it. And that's where my square is. All right, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to ink up a corally pink, which is it's an old Stampin' Up colour called Cameo Coral. I've had these for quite a while, and I dug them out again because I thought now I want to use them, and they're quite good to sort of take places. And the card I'm casing came about when I went to the last meeting at Happy Stampers, and Carrie's had one where she's had like loads of bright squares and rectangles in the background. And I thought, oh, I do like that. So I cased hers a little bit. So I want to stamp the bloom about here. And all my other little squares, sort of 3 of them, they're going to go above. So don't want them to be that close. So again, I'm just going to sort of see it's about here. So I'm going to take this away now. This is how I make cards. I got a vague idea, and then I just, at the end of the day, I'm just sort of going for it. So that was about that. That is one. And you can see how beautifully the Stamploration stamps actually do stamp. So just clean that off, because next will be my orange. So let's just leave that up and just align it above there and go for it. That's the next. And my very top one will be the red. So that takes a little while to ink up because I've used this red loads. So there we go, and that's that. Okay, so you've got your little squares and your larger square there. And what happens when you stamp with an ink pad in such a way, you also get a little bit of subtle texture behind it, which I quite like. I think that's really nice. So next we're going to stamp the acetate, and in order to do that you're going to put your acetate on top of your card whereabouts it would be. So I've already pre-scored the top here where it's going to fold over to the back, so it will be approximately something like this. And now I'm going to get my black StazOn out and hope it's going to play ball today, because it didn't want to the other day. So let's just see what happens. So I'm going to get that, and I'm going to ink my stamp up, the daisy stamp, with the black StazOn. Yeah, and it's inking up fine. And then I'm just going to go and stamp. And it hasn't played ball, so that's no big loss. Let's just get the StazOn cleaner and clean it off. And I've got some tissue there as well. Just get the StazOn cleaner, clean it off, and then we'll just try again. It could just be that it's a little bit dry, the ink pad or something. So I've done that. Now let's try again. Place this over. I'm going to use this underneath and see if it does help, sort of like a stamping surface. See if that helps the ink to transfer better. You also need to be with StazOn relatively quick because the ink dries quite quickly. So let's try again and just go for it. And this time it's much better. There we go. That was all that was needed. A second go and a second dry. So, well, for StazOn, as I mentioned in an earlier video, you do need a StazOn cleaner, and if you stamp on acetate, you need basically you need to use StazOn ink because, or well, any other that you know of that dries on a non-porous surface. So you can see where I'm going with this card here now. And so I'm going to take my daisy off again for the moment, because I want to also sort of see where my sentiment is going to go. Now I'm just going to use the thanks, and that's got to go about here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ink that up with black memento. What I tend to do is, because I haven't stamped this stamp before, I just sometimes just stamp it out once and then I'll ink it up again to stamp it. And it usually works quite well. Because sometimes stamps you have to just sort of slightly rub a little bit for the ink to get a better key, and that way I'll find out what I need to do or not to do. So right, now let's just see, that goes about here. So I'm going to remove my acetate for the moment. And then just bear with me, I just saw a mark on the thing which I don't want to, on the block, which I didn't want to transfer on the card. And then it goes about here. There you go. So that's that. And then next I'm going to fold my acetate over. I had already pre-scored it. And so I need to now attach the acetate to my card. So I'm going to take the backing off, and whenever I attach acetate in this way, I find it easier if I stand my card up. So if I stand this up like this, and then I'm going to hook the front over it and try not to press down the back yet, because this is very sticky tape, the one that I used. Just align it, and only when you're happy with where you got it. Come on. Oh, it's gone down. Right, never mind. It will have to do. It's slightly sticking up at the top. If I'm going to get this off now, even I can make mistakes. So I should have done, not quite folded it down quite as much, but because this is already keyed down. But I can use it like that. It's just a little bit higher at the top here than I would have liked to. So that's the card so far. And because it's slightly wonky and not offset, so it's a bit to one side, but never mind. I think you get the idea. Just bear with me. I'm just going to try and get this off, and I'll stick a border over the edge there, because me trying to be perfectionist, I do not like this. Sorry. Try again. I actually managed to get it off. So make it a little bit straightened out, not absolutely folded down. Stand it up, align it at the front, sort of about where you want it to go. Hold the front and then fold it over. There you go. Now that looks much better. It's a bit more central than what it was before. And so that's what it looks so far. And now I think all I'm going to do is maybe, or maybe even not, add a couple of gems. So I'm just going to see what it looks like. I tend to use a little toothpick to do that. And I'll just go underneath and pick them off and just see. Is it needed or isn't it needed? Oh, I think I put one here into those squares. Let's Just do it like that. So there's one. I'm going to put one in the corner down here. Two. I could put one here, and then that's it done. I don't think I want any more on there. Because you could do more with, make the card a bit busier, but I quite like the simplicity of it. So there we go. That's the card. So I hope you can see it. There we go. And to the side. And that's it. Okay, thanks for watching. I shall be back again soon with some more cards. Bye.